everybody, my name is Olivia and this is Out for an Airing, where I lay things out after the airing. Now today we're going to talk about Supernatural Season 9, Episode 8, Rock in a Hard Place. Properly named if you ask me. There's a lot of things going on. Basically, they think it's dragons, and that was like the basic assumption of people, but it turns out that it's actually this Roman earth goddess named Vesta. I actually have read about this before. Somewhere. I don't know. I like looking up things like this. It's interesting. But anyway, they make their way over to Hartford, South Dakota, where they meet up with my favorite sheriff, Jody Mills, who I've missed dearly. She is the absolute best. You never get enough of her. Or Kim Rhodes, because Kim Rhodes is awesome. One of the interesting things that I also was really thinking about while I was watching this episode is how crazy it is that the redheads always stand out in this show. They're always either evil or like going to die. Really, really awful. Except for the one chick whose name I forgot in like the beginning, who was like hating on Honor, and you know, she just got punched in the face. But still, something bad always happens to redheads in this show. That's what I'm starting to notice. They are actually born-again virgins in this episode, and that makes Dean a virgin 3 times now by his count. I don't know if he's totally not really counting this, I'm not sure, but yeah. And then there's also mention of a scene with tacos in a porno. I don't want to know what that's about. But anyway, 3 things to talk about. One thing is, we need to talk about Sam. Obviously, he's starting to figure something is seriously going wrong with, what's going on with, the fact that he is somehow alive and well, and yet he does not feel okay, and people keep wondering how he's actually still alive. In the beginning of the episode, he actually makes a note. He says, "I feel like my battery can't be charged." Like, yeah, it can't be charged because there's an angel inside of you, Sam. You poor, poor child. I feel so sorry for you. But, it's been a while, and he's really, really ready to trust Dean, especially after that awesome, brotastic moment they have in the Season 8 finale, where they're in the church, and he's just like, "I need you, Sammy." And Sam's just like, "But why?" And Dean's just like, "You're my brother, Sammy." And Sam's just like, "I still don't get it." Well, they don't sound But, like, while he's willing to trust Dean in these matters, he's not an idiot. Like, at all. So when he finds out, he's definitely going to be understandably pissed. And the only thing that could really stop him from being mad is if the second coming of the apocalypse actually happens. And if you watched the preview for the mid-season finale. The only thing that'll stop him from being pissed is if the actual second apocalypse comes. And, when mayhem strikes, they tend to stick together regardless of the cost. They'll get angry at each other later, sure. But, like, as long as bad things are going on, he's gonna be super, 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 like, okay, we just need to get through this. And, like, even the chick, Bonnie, who's the goddess lady, she's like, "You're all duct tapes and safety pins inside." Not duct tapes. Duct tape and safety pins inside. Like, how are you alive? And, like, it's because there's something holding you together. And you could see him sort of piecing it together in his mind that something's really not alright with this. At the end of the episode, he confronts Dean. And Sam thinks that it's really just him, which is awful, because, like, why would you ever want to feel like that? And Dean obviously gets the hint, and he's just like, "I should probably just tell him." But Ezekiel is like, "Stop, motherfucker! We ain't having none of that. This is not happening. You need to, no, just shut up." Which is obviously the first sign that something is it's not the first sign. The first sign was when Ezekiel's like, "Yeah, let me just get inside of your brother." And, like, he has his hand on Sam's shoulder or head or whatever the fuck, and you see him changing from Dean to Ezekiel, and he has that smirk. Like, did anyone else see? Obviously people had to have seen that smirk. It was like a thing. It was very obviously there. But, like, that is the first sign that something's wrong. And, like, now Ezekiel shows up and he's just like, "Yeah, you're not gonna tell him anything. Ezekiel, stop. I want to like you. Please." But it's looking like things are getting grim. But we'll talk about that later. Point number 2 is Jody is back, and that's super fantastic. I love her very much. She is, like, the closest thing, I think, in the series that the boys actually really get to a mother figure. I'm trying to think of if there was anyone else, but I'm pretty sure there was just Bobby, who was like their dad. And it's actually really depressing because Bobby's hate you season 7. It's like, she's really great. She has a heart, Sam has a heart-to-heart with her, and she's had her trouble with guys, obviously. There was her husband, he's dead. Bobby, he's dead. Crowley, evil, but still alive, fortunately. That's fantastic, isn't it? Please keep him alive. And you know, with Sam, we all know that Roman isn't the only dick that kills in this show. Right? Right? I get points for that joke. The boys are getting this mother figure in this woman, and like, Dean, I haven't really seen Dean have much of a moment with her, but like Sam really needs that. You've seen, like, it was in the episode, was it As Time Goes By? Where he goes back in time? I can't remember. One of these episodes, or Time After Time or something. One of the episodes in season 8, they go back in time because of Kronos, and Sam is with Jodie that time too, and like he's still with Jodie, and like he really needs a mother figure because when he was a kid, he didn't know his mom, like, at all. She sucked horribly, like, she died when he was 6 months old, and, like, that's super awful. But, like, now he can sort of get that from Jodie, and, like, Dean, we obviously haven't seen this with yet, but, like, that's because he keeps getting himself into other shenanigans, like banging porn stars. Aspirations. They're up there. She can keep up with the boys too, which is like a super big thing, because usually everybody who tries to keep up with the boys ends up dead. Bobby was doing it for a good while, but he's still dead. He's still dead. Who else is trying to keep up with them? Kevin is actually still alive. Linda Tren, still very confused about where she is. Charlie is in Oz. That's great. I hope she's back. I'm pretty sure she's coming back. I don't know. I was reading things on Twitter and like, it was crazy. But like, she's been horribly wounded like, what, 3 times now? Time she was in the hospital, and I don't know, there was like a bunch of times, maybe it was more times than that, but like she keeps getting hurt, but like she still associates with them, like she's not gonna back down, which is super fantastic. You have to give her major props for that. Like Jodie, on point, spot on. Next point, and this is gonna be sort of the last thing before I start rambling aimlessly about what's going to happen next week, we kind of get a look into survivors of all these supernatural attacks. There's the chick with the Honor, that's her name, Honor. When she gets kidnapped, she's sort of wandering around trying to figure out what's going on. Like, have you ever, like, we see how Sam and Dean react to these things, and we see what happens to the families of people who get hurt by these things. Obviously, they're distraught, and they have no idea what the hell is going on. It's awful. Usually they end up dead. But, like, for you to come out of it alive, like, there were like the 4 that were trapped down there before Dean and what's-her-face, I don't even remember her name, porn star lady, let's call her Taco Girl. Before Dean and Taco Girl get downstairs to the magical, mystical cellar basement place, they were super confused and they were worried, and like, their different reactions to these events. Like, for one thing, there was the guy, Neil, I think his name was, and he's a survivalist. He obviously wants to get out of this alive. He doesn't care about sacrificing people, whether they're hurt or anything. And Dean is completely like, no, why the fuck would you do that? You're a horrible person. But like, really, when they survive these kinds of events, like, all these people don't become hunters. I mean, what was her name? Sarah, who Crowley killed in season 8? Like, she came out of it and she was just like, I'm just gonna go back to my life as normal now, like, whatever. Like, they don't all go back to normal like that, though. Sometimes they're just completely botched in the head and it's awful. They don't all become hunters either. Some of them, like, probably are completely traumatized for life. And, like, getting to see sort of, like, because they actually did spend a very good amount of camera time on those people in there, and it was, like, super crazy. That's basically last thing, and now I'm gonna start sobbing hysterically about next week. Are you ready? Mid-season finale. It is go time, and none of us are really ready for this. Okay, so you know what other season was constantly funny? Season 7. You know what happened in season 7? Bobby died. Kevin got kidnapped by Crowley. Cass and Dean ended up in purgatory. Everything bad happened in season 7, but it was funny. It's been like completely funny in the show for like the past few weeks. Like everything's been like la, maybe like a couple of serious things happen here and there. Sam starts to have doubts. Dean starts feeling guilty. Ezekiel shows up and decides to go all dickbag in the situation. Like, yeah, sure, but like next week there was nothing funny about that preview. Nothing. And this is only the half of it. After this gets back, we're only gonna have a half left. And like, what's gonna happen? Like, apparently, like, I couldn't like rewind my TV because there's like a thing in front of it. Like, apparently they're trying to figure out a way to fix the angels, and Ezekiel, what the fuck are you doing? I'm gonna slit your throat. Stop, please, I'm begging you. We wanted to like you. None of us can like you now. because obviously you're gonna do something fucking douchey, and we're gonna have to take up ours, because we can't trust any angels except for freaking Samandra. We couldn't even trust Cass that one time. Like, what are we supposed to do about that? Obviously, sobbing to our pillows, and, you know, I don't know, subside the pain with alcoholism? We could do it Dean style. Or, you know, we could just bang every chick we see and, have her die afterwards. Like Sam. Or we could fall from heaven. That's gonna be it for tonight. Join us next week. We've got Angels, 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 and Zeke being a douchebag, apparently. Night.